Hey, that's a good girl.
Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now if you've been around for a while, that you know anytime that I am down here on the floor instead of up there, and especially if I have my coffee, that means that we're gonna have one of two things. We're either gonna have like a chit chatty video or we're gonna have like a real talk video. Spoiler alert, today's a real talk video. So today I want to talk about how you can still make this year awesome, even in 2020. Now, this video is being filmed at the end of the year. This is October of 2020, and first of all, can we just say 2020 has been the strangest year, which we'll get into a little bit more later. But why I'm talking about this is because I kind of plan out my year and plan out my goals by quarters. I talked a little bit about this in my goal setting video that I did actually in like July, because again, I go by quarters. And I've done that ever since I started using the Full Focus Planner, which is the planner that I started using at the end of last year, and I love it. It's a quarterly planner, so they teach you to go quarterly, and you have like, these are my quarterly goals, and you have a quarterly review, and just all of those things. I have a whole video about this, so I'm not gonna go super far into it today, but I just wanted to make you aware, like, this is the reason that I'm really big on quarters. As teachers, we also have quarters, but they don't line up with actual quarters. So in the business world, typically people break up the year into quarters. So there's, you know, January to March, April to June, July to September, and then October until the end of the year. Change the battery. Great. Fresh battery. Here we go. So because I plan out quarterly what all of my goals are, when I ordered my last planner of the year, my last quarterly planner of the year, I was just very aware of the fact that the year is closing in. And again, this has been the strangest year pretty much ever. It's like the year the world shut down, the year the world caught on fire, giant hurricanes, crazy illnesses, just everything you could, I was gonna say everything you could think of has happened. No, because I definitely did not think of any of this stuff happening. No, my dog's trying to attack me. Can you just like lay down and chill out? That would be great. All of the things that I never would have imagined would happen have all happened in the same year. And so that's derailed pretty much everybody. There's very few people who are not currently feeling like kind of crazy, things are really off, and just all of the things. I hear a lot on social media, and even I was just talking to someone in my district, another music teacher, on the phone, and the comment I keep hearing is things like, oh yeah, all of the goals went out the window in 2020, or no one's getting anything accomplished in 2020, or 2020 is just not the year for anything. Or if you got out of bed and had a shower, you're doing pretty good. I want to tell you, and it's gonna make some of you mad, it's not true. Now, yes, a lot of stuff is happening, and so some days, yeah, getting up and taking a shower is a pretty stinking big deal, especially when no one can see you because you're still teaching virtually in October. But let's be honest, a lot of things that you set out to do, especially if you are a Teachers Pay Teachers author, are still doable even in 2020. And a lot of the things you wanted to accomplish, you can still do. A lot of you know that because a lot of you have come here to this channel to learn how to grow your TPT shop since March. I saw a huge spike in like March and April of people coming here to learn more about how to just make their Teachers Pay Teachers shop awesome. I've talked to a lot of you who are brand new, and I've also talked to a lot of people who maybe had a shop and weren't really taking it seriously until now. So a lot of you are doing a great job using 2020 to your advantage. And a lot of other people are using it as an excuse. Now, I want to put this out there. If you have been affected by COVID-19, if you have gotten sick, if you have had a loved one get sick or even die, if your spouse has lost a job, like those things are really big deals. I am not trying to take away from that. If you are like me and overnight had to somehow manage to take your whole teaching everything online, and it was stressful, and it still is stressful, and now like everything's up in the air and crazy. It's stressful. I am not trying to take away from that. I'm not trying to sit here and tell you that your stress isn't real. I am not trying to sit here and tell you that, you know, this, that, or the other. It's real. Like, this year is a struggle, and a lot of people have struggled. However, don't put your life and your dreams and your goals on hold. Don't do it. Because here's the deal. Actually, I was listening to Rachel Hollis, and I think it was like an Instagram IGTV or something, and she was talking about people saying, you know, like, oh, well, when things get back to normal, this, that, and the other. And she was like, this is your life. Like, this is what normal is right now. And hopefully this is not what normal is going to be forever. But right now, this is normal. Normal will hopefully change. But right now, all of the craziness is the normal. And yes, I believe that it will go away and things will change a lot. However, for right now, like, this is your life. It's not like, let's put this on hold until things get back to normal. It's, this is your life, and if you want to accomplish things, you need to make it happen. So yes, everything has been stressful, but please do not blame all of the problems on the virus, especially if you haven't been like personally affected by it, because I've heard a lot of people make comments about, you know, oh, well, I couldn't do this because of, you know, COVID-19. I was like, you didn't even have it. Like, you don't know anyone who has it. So I know things have been crazy, but don't just say like, oh, I didn't get anything accomplished because of that, and leave it there. Now, you might be sitting in a place where that's how it has been. Maybe, you know, maybe you have been personally affected, and if so, I am so sorry. Maybe you know, just the stress of completely changing your curriculum, plus being home with your kids, plus all the things, maybe that was just enough for you, and that is fine. But don't say, oh, I didn't make the progress I wanted to make because of that, especially if you are a Teachers Pay Teachers author, because all of our stuff is online. All of it. Trent Shelton at the Rise conference said, in 2020, some people saw this as a stumbling block and didn't do anything, and other people saw it as an opportunity and ran with it. And when the smoke clears, you're gonna be able to see who is who. And I would like for you to be on the other side of this, looking back saying, oh my gosh, 2020 changed my life because of all the awesome things that happened. Yes, this year has sucked. Throwing it out there. Yes, I hated ending last year online. Yes, I hate starting this year online. Yes, I hate that things are changing every single day. However, I'm gonna remember 2020 as the year that I published a book and the year that I created an online course. I'm not gonna look back, well, I probably will look back and say like, oh, that's the year the coronavirus is. But I'm always gonna look at 2020 as that's the year that I, you know, did these things that really moved my business forward. That's the year I put in work and I really made some effort because I had to, but still, like, I had to, because otherwise my business was just gonna flop. If you want to know all about that, you can see how I changed my business in 2020 when I was going from like doing really well to doing horribly in March because I had no online products and no one was buying anything from my store. But because of that, like, I was put in a position where I had to work my butt off, and I did, and I crushed it. Isn't that so much better than looking back at 2020 and being like, oh yeah, that's the year that I did nothing, or that's the year that my store closed, or that's the year that, you know, just things just didn't go how I wanted them to go. I actually recently got an email. I'm part of a membership service called Startup Society that is like a business coaching each month. And so it's like a monthly membership. It's the only monthly membership that I pay for. Love it. They just sent me an email the other day and they were like, hey, fourth quarter's coming up. If you haven't made progress, like, here's some ideas of things you could do, which is kind of what inspired this video. But also I was like, I've been looking forward to October because I had so much going on that I was like, okay, in October, things can like slow down a little bit. Like all my big projects are finished. In October, I can, you know, just do the blog and the YouTube and like the normal things. And for the rest of the year, things can be a little bit easier. I'm still gonna work, but it's not gonna be nearly as stressful as launching a course and launching another course and launching another course and launching a book and like all of these things back to back to back. And it was just such a wake-up call to me to realize like, oh, people maybe didn't do what I did. So wherever you are, if you are on the side where like you have been working, but maybe you've hit a wall, or if you're in the side of you haven't been doing anything, I don't want you to watch this video and be downed, first of all. I want to give you some practical ideas for what you can do to kill the next 3 months so that you get out of this year thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I did that. I am so glad that that happened. Not obviously the global pandemic. However, I'm so glad that I put in the work to get things done. So if you are still in that area of like, I totally haven't done anything, the first thing I want you to do is think of one thing that you can do. If you're watching this in real time when it comes out in October, you still have all of October, all of November, and all of December in order to make something happen. And if you're a teacher, you're gonna have a week off in November and 2 weeks off in December to help you out and make more progress. So think, what is one thing, just one thing that I could do? Maybe it's a big product line. Maybe it's starting that YouTube channel. Maybe it's really growing your email list and making a new lead magnet. Maybe it's finally putting in the effort into your Instagram so that it grows. Whatever it is, I want you to think of one thing you can do from now until the end of the year so that you can say at the end of the year, I did that one thing. Even if it's the only thing you did all year, I want you to be able to look back at 2020 and say, oh yeah, that's the year that I wrote a book, or that's the year I started my YouTube channel, or that's the year that I finally made that giant product that I wasn't sure I was gonna be able to finish. That's what I want you to get at this year. That's what I want on the other side in 2021. You can look back and think about that and feel proud. That's what I want for you, is to feel proud, to feel like you put in the effort and you got something out of it. So first of all, think of one thing that you could still do, because there's plenty of time. There's a whole quarter that you can just crush. That would be like awesome. Now, the second idea is, especially if you maybe don't know what to do, or this year was just so out of whack that like the goals you set in January are just like done for, totally understand. In that case, what I want you to do is start thinking about next year. So in the fourth quarter, I like to go ahead and, y'all, I love planning, you should know. But in the fourth quarter, I like to go ahead and start thinking about, what do I want to accomplish next year? So I already have a list, and I just called it like first draft of goals for next year, because things obviously are still going to change the next 3 months. But I was like, here are some things I would like to do next year. Here are some places I would like to go. Here's where I want my YouTube channel to be, and just some ideas. They're not fully formed yet because, again, we still have 3 months, but I just, you know, started thinking about what I might want to accomplish next year. And that was so helpful for figuring out what I should do now in this quarter, in this month, in this week, in this day, what I need to do now in order to get where I want to go next year. So again, if your year, this year was like totally out of whack, you haven't made any progress on your goals, fine. Start thinking about next year and seeing what you want to accomplish there. The reason is you can kind of get like a jump start now. So if next year you want to, you know, grow your email list really high, then right now start thinking about lead magnets. Start talking about your email list so that you end the year with more people than you have now, so that next year you already have some momentum going into January. So you're ahead of your goals next year. If you want to maybe like start a YouTube, if you want to do a YouTube channel, start it now so that you have the next 3 months to gain subscribers and to get videos up and to start learning, because it's a process, y'all. If you go back and watch my old videos, I would not suggest it because it's rough. But my point being, it is a process. So if you can start now, you'll be 3 months ahead of where you would be. So instead of being, you know, in March with 100 subscribers. Maybe you can end the year with 100 subscribers so that you start next year with 100 subscribers already under your belt, or with a few videos already up, or with some sort of understanding of what you're doing. These are practical ways that you can make some progress on your goals. If you're trying to hit 50 products or 100 products in your store, start thinking about that now, so that this year, so that this quarter, so that this month, you can start thinking about, okay, well, let's make a list of products I would like to make. Okay, let's start doing one. Let's make a template so that I can make 4 that are all very similar, so that they're really easy to make and go through quickly. Start thinking about what you want to do next year so that you can get a head start this year. Especially if this year your goals, your plans, your ideas were completely destroyed. Don't dwell on that. Don't be like, oh my gosh, this was horrible. Oh my gosh, I didn't do anything. Start thinking about next year and think about, what can I do next year in order to make next year awesome, and start that now. So I've already done this. Obviously I have, you know, goals that I'm still working towards for this year. But I wrote down, here's like my ideas of what I might want to do. And when I have those ideas down, then I can start working towards them. So one thing is that next year I really want to grow my email list by a lot. My goal is to hit like 10,000 people, which seems like so many people to me for where I am now. However, knowing that, I've already started being more conscious about mentioning it in stories, talking about it on my Instagram, talking about it here on YouTube. Like, there's just, it's come up more naturally because it's on the forefront of my mind, because I'm already thinking about it for next year. So even though this year I did not have an email growth goal, even though that wasn't something on my list for this year, I'm already thinking about it for next year, so that next year I'm starting closer to my goal rather than where I am now, or even worse, further behind. So think about things that maybe you want to get done next year. You're not married to these ideas. If you change your mind, that is totally fine, but just start thinking about them. Again, think of them as like a first draft, so that later you can come back and figure out more concrete, like what exactly you want to get done. But for now, just think of them as like first draft, like ideas, what I might want to get done next year. The point is that whether this year has been awesome for you or it's been terrible for you, and I'm willing to bet for most of us it's been leaning towards closer to terrible than closer to good, do not use that as an excuse to waste the next 3 months. Do not sit the next 3 months sitting on the couch. Don't sit the next 3 months stressing over your job when you know that there's only so much you can do. Spend the next 3 months getting yourself closer to the goals that you want to hit, and start thinking about goals for next year. Think of these 3 months as getting ahead for next year, but don't spend the next 3 months just completely blowing it off, wasting it, because that's not going to help you in the long run. And seriously, in January, do you want to look back and be like, oh my gosh, I got so much done the last 3 months, I'm like ahead? Or do you want to get to January and be like, I did nothing. I sat on the couch and watched Netflix? Because I mean, your girl loves Netflix, but you got work to do. At least like put the Netflix show on and like make your product while you're watching it, you know? Anyway, so just don't waste the next 3 months. What I want for you is to get to 2021 and be able to say, that's the thing I did in 2020. That's how much I grew my TPT business. Those are the products I made. That's the video I started. That's the YouTube channel I started. That's the blog I started. I want you to be able to think back to 2020 as the year that you did blank, so that in 2021 you're not starting the year behind, you're starting the year already somewhat ready to go. Now, if you are like, I don't know if I can do that, I don't know if I can get anything done, just try your best, first of all. And secondly, this is a really good book for if you're looking to do something like that. This is called The 12-Week Year, and the tagline literally says, get more done in 12 weeks than others do in 12 months. And in this book, they talk about how a lot of people actually literally do get more done in the last quarter of the year than in the whole year, because they're so focused on like meeting end goals, which if you are, that's great. If not, still. So his whole point is to look at 12 weeks and set a goal and crush it in 12 weeks. And there's also like a workbook. So I will link this book and the workbook down below because it was really, really helpful. It just talks about like how to set goals and how to actually achieve them, and like a really strategic process for how to make that happen. You know, I love a strategic process. So definitely check this book out and the workbook if you want it. I did not get the workbook because I ordered this during quarantine, and for some reason the book was on Amazon's like 2-day, you know, Prime shipping, but the workbook was not considered essential, and so it wasn't gonna be here for like 3 months. So I was like, yeah, we're not gonna do that. So I might get it next year. But definitely check that out because it's really helpful, especially if, again, you're like, oh crud, there's only 3 more months left in the year. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna end the year? And then whether or not you purchase that, also I would highly recommend the Full Focus Planner. I love this planner. I keep thinking I want to find like a new one because I would rather it be a full year, but I just love it so much. It's also just so beautiful. But it's just so helpful for crushing your goals. It talks a lot about systems and routines, and like there's a whole podcast literally about this planner. Yeah. So it has like annual goals. I have a whole video about it again, and then goal details where you can like write out motivation and summaries, and you can check off progress. There's like little trackers. And of course there's like the calendar pages, and then they have ritual pages. I didn't fill this out clearly, but the ritual pages where you can like figure out what's the best thing you can do each day and each morning and each night, and then each page looks like that. So I will link that and the book, and then also the video to like the Full Focus Planner review, which I did the very first time I purchased one. So it's like everything's blank and new, and I think I might do a new one in December. So I hope this video was helpful. Again, it was not intended to undermine anyone. It was not intended to like tell you your stress isn't real, because y'all, your stress is real. The struggle is real this year. The whole intent of this video is I would like you to come out of the other side of this year thinking of 2020 as the year that you did something, and not the year that all this crazy crap happened to you. So don't waste the next 3 months. Spend the next 3 months making yourself proud, making your future, making your 2021 self proud. When you sit and make those New Year's goals, I want you to think about how far you've come and not how many seasons of Grey's Anatomy you watched, because there's a lot of seasons of Grey's Anatomy. So, you know, that would probably take you about 3 months. Let me know in the comments if you have crushed anything this year. I would love to celebrate some of your wins. So anything you've done, accomplished, started, all of those things. And even if you want to add some goals that you want to accomplish in the next quarter, let me know as well down in the comments. I want to chat. I never want this to be like a one-way I'm talking at you. I always want it to be a conversation. So that's why I bring the conversation to Facebook and to Instagram, and I'll link those below if you are not in our Facebook and Instagram communities, so you can come and join us. Thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful, wonderful week.